Zara was the only child of her mother. Her mother was the first wife of Chief Obinna, a respected businessman in town. Zara loved her mother deeply. They were very close. But everything changed the year her mother fell sick. She was taken from one hospital to another, but nothing worked. A few months later, she died. Zara was only 10 years old. When it happened, Chief Obinna mourned his wife, but after 1 year, he brought another woman into the house. Her name was Linda. She was beautiful and soft-spoken, and soon after marriage, she gave birth to a baby girl named Amora. At first, Zara was excited to have a baby sister. She used to help carry Amora and play with her. But as the years passed, things began to change. Amora grew into a stunning young girl. Her skin glowed naturally, her smile could light up a room, and she had a kind and gentle spirit. Everyone loved Amora, relatives, neighbors. Even visitors who came to the house would praise her beauty and manners. Zara, on the other hand, struggled to get attention. She wasn't ugly, but next to Amora, she often felt invisible. She was darker, taller, and more serious in nature. When people came visiting, they would greet both girls, but their eyes always lingered longer on Amora. At school, boys admired Amora. Teachers liked her. Even during church activities, Amora was the one chosen to read Bible passages or lead songs. People would smile and say, "That girl is going to marry a rich man someday." And they meant it. Zara began to feel something in her chest, something heavy. At first, it was just sadness. But over time, it became jealousy. She started comparing everything. If someone gave Amora a compliment, Zara would roll her eyes. If Amora got a new dress, Zara would look for the fault in it. She started to avoid her sister. She stopped playing with her. She began to speak harshly, even when Amora hadn't done anything wrong. Their once warm relationship turned cold. Their father, Chief Obinna, noticed the growing tension but said nothing. He believed girls would always fight and settle. But he didn't know that Zara's heart was changing fast. The love she once had for Amora had turned into quiet resentment. Amora, as always, remained kind. She still greeted her sister with a smile and tried to include her in things. But Zara was no longer interested in kindness. She had made up her mind. Amora had taken everything, the love, the attention, the praise, and one day, she would pay for it. That was the beginning of a silent war between two sisters living under the same roof, born of different mothers, but now strangers to each other. Amora had just turned 24 when she met Denzel. It happened at a wedding ceremony. She had gone with her mother, Linda, who loved attending events. Amora was not even planning to go, but her mother had begged her to follow her. "You need fresh air," she said. At the wedding, Denzel couldn't take his eyes off Amora. He was tall, neat, and dressed in a simple but expensive native wear. He was the kind of man who didn't talk too much, but when he spoke, you wanted to listen. Amora noticed him too, but she didn't think much of it until he walked up to her. "Hi, I'm Denzel," he said with a smile. Amora greeted him politely. They talked for a few minutes. He didn't waste time. He told her he liked her and would love to see her again. From that day, Denzel became serious with Amora. He called her every morning and every night. He would send gifts to her mother, and sometimes he would come visiting with flowers or fruits. He wasn't just rich, he was respectful and kind. Amora liked him more and more every day. Chief Obinna was happy when he met Denzel. He said, "This one is serious. Not like those other ones that used to follow you around with no plan." Even Zara's stepmother, Linda, was excited. "This is a good man," she said. "You are lucky, my daughter." Zara watched everything in silence. Each time Denzel came to visit, he brought laughter with him. Amora would smile and blush. Their parents would sit in the living room with him and talk about business, marriage, and future plans. Zara would excuse herself early and go to her room. She couldn't stand it. One evening, when Denzel came again and gave Amora a small box with a ring inside, the house burst into celebration. Amara was officially engaged. Zara locked herself in the bathroom and cried silently. She stared at herself in the mirror. What does she have that I don't? She whispered. She knew the answer. Beauty. Grace. Favor. Zara started losing sleep. She would wake up angry and go to bed angry. The thought of Amara getting married to such a perfect man was too much to bear. No, she said to herself one night. She doesn't deserve him. I do. The next week, Zara went to visit her friend, Tracy. Tracy was wild, fearless, and never believed in playing fair. Zara poured out her heart. She told Tracy everything, how Denzel used to smile at her. Sometimes too. How she believed she had a better body than Amara. How unfair life was. Tracy laughed. So you mean you're just going to fold your hands and watch your junior sister marry the man of your dreams? What else can I do? Zara asked, almost in tears. Tracy leaned forward and said in a low voice, there's a way. If you want him, you can have him. But you have to be ready. Zara looked at her friend with wide eyes. What do you mean? Tracy smiled. There's a man I know. A native doctor. He's not evil. He just helps to adjust things. He can give you something small. Something to help you become irresistible. Zara hesitated. Are you saying I should use charm? Not charm, Tracy said quickly. Just a simple powder to boost your attraction. Something to make his heart move when he sees you. That's all. Nothing serious. Zara was silent for a long time. Her heart beat fast. She looked down at her fingers, then looked back up. Where is the place? She asked. Tracy smiled again. I knew you'd come to your senses. And just like that, Zara took the first dangerous step toward getting the perfect man, even if it meant stealing him from her own sister. Tracy didn't waste time. The next morning, she and Zara took a bus to the outskirts of town. The road was dusty, with small bushes on both sides. After about 20 minutes, they stopped in front of an old wooden gate. Tracy knocked 3 times and waited. An old woman opened the gate. She didn't smile or speak. She just looked at them and stepped aside. They walked into a small compound. A hut stood in the middle. The place smelled of herbs and smoke. Inside the hut sat the native doctor, an elderly man with gray hair and sharp eyes. His name was Baba Honolulu. He didn't ask many questions. He simply looked at Zara and said, You want someone to love you, someone that already loves another. Zara was shocked. How did you know? Baba Honolulu chuckled. The spirits speak. But be warned, every gift has a price. I'm not here for trouble, Zara said nervously. I just want him to look at me the way he looks at my sister. Baba Honolulu nodded and stood up. He went to the back of the hut and returned with a small clay pot. Inside was fine brown powder. This is beauty powder, he said. Very powerful. Sprinkle a pinch on your face every day. When you speak to him, your voice will be like music. When you smile, his heart will melt. Zara stared at the powder with wide eyes. Will it work? Baba Honolulu looked serious. It works, but you must let your natural beauty shine on your big day. Zara nodded quickly. Okay, I understand. But she didn't really understand. She was too excited to care. Tracy was smiling beside her. That night, Zara stood in front of her mirror, took a small pinch of the powder, and rubbed it gently on her cheeks. The next day, Denzel came to visit Amara again. But something strange happened. When he saw Zara walk past him in the hallway, he stared. For the first time, his eyes followed her. When she greeted him, he smiled back, longer than usual. Amara didn't notice anything, but Zara did. Her heart beat fast. It's working, she whispered to herself. From that day, Zara increased her effort. She dressed better, spoke softly, and always made sure Denzel saw her. The powder became part of her daily routine. Slowly, Denzel started to change. He stopped calling Amara as often. He came to the house, but his eyes searched for Zara. One day, he didn't even ask of Amara when he visited. Instead, he sat with Zara in the sitting room and talked with her for hours. Amara became confused. She didn't know what was going on. Then, one afternoon, Denzel called a meeting. Amara was smiling, thinking it was for their wedding plans. But Denzel shocked everyone. He stood up and said, "I have made a mistake. I thought I was in love with Amara, but my heart belongs to Zara." Silence filled the room. Amara froze. Chief Obinna stood up, his voice shaking. "What nonsense is this?" Linda burst into tears. "What did we do wrong?" Zara sat still, pretending to be surprised. Inside her, she was dancing. Amara ran out of the room. Her heart shattered. And just like that, the perfect man was no longer hers. He had become Zara's. The powder had worked, or so it seemed. The wedding day finally arrived. It was everything Zara had dreamed of and more. The hall was decorated like a palace, gold and white everywhere, fresh flowers, shining lights, and a crowd of well-dressed guests. Laughter and music filled the air. Everyone came to see the wedding of the handsome millionaire Denzel and his beautiful bride. Zara sat quietly in the bridal suite, dressed in her white gown, as her makeup artist worked. On her face, "Make it full glam," Zara had said. "I want to look like a goddess." The makeup artist nodded and went to work, painting her face with care. Layers of foundation, powder, eyeshadow, and lipstick followed. By the time she was done, Zara looked flawless. Her face glowed like the women on magazine covers. She smiled at her reflection, but something felt off. A small voice in her mind whispered, "Didn't the native doctor say something about makeup?" She pushed the thought away. "Please, I can't go barefaced to my own wedding. That would be ridiculous." So she smiled, stood tall, and walked proudly into the hall. The wedding ceremony was magical. Guests clapped and cheered. Denzel looked handsome in his suit, standing beside her like the perfect man. They exchanged vows and rings. The pastor pronounced them husband and wife, and the guests shouted with joy. At the reception, Zara danced and laughed. She was now Mrs. Denzel. She had finally won. But deep inside, she was nervous. Denzel was smiling, but something in his eyes looked strange. He didn't talk much. He didn't touch her gently like he used to. He just followed the crowd, nodded when needed, and kept looking ahead. After the party, they entered the hotel suite. It was a beautiful room, filled with rose petals and soft music. Zara went to the mirror and began removing her jewelry and hairpins. "I'll be out in a minute," she said, walking into the bathroom to wash her face. She took her time, removing every trace of makeup. Her bare face stayed back at her in the mirror. She still looked beautiful, maybe not like a goddess, but like herself. When she walked out of the bathroom, everything changed. Denzel was sitting on the bed, scrolling through his phone. He looked up as she entered, and froze. His eyes grew wide with confusion. Who are you?" he asked slowly. Zara laughed, thinking it was a joke. "Stop it, Denzel. It's me, your wife." He stood up. "My wife? No, you're not Zara." "Are you serious?" she asked, walking closer. "It's me, Zara, your bride." Denzel stepped back. "No, Zara is different. Her face is different. This is not the woman I married today." Zara felt cold all over. "What are you talking about?" she said, her voice shaking. "Look, here's our wedding picture, see." She showed him a photo from earlier that day. Denzel stared at it for a few seconds and shook his head. "This face and that face are not the same." Zara tried to hold his hand. He pulled away. "Don't touch me. I don't know you." Tears filled her eyes. "Denzel, please. You're scaring me." He grabbed his car keys. "I need to go. I need to clear my head." "Wait, where are you going?" "Denzel, come back." But he was already out the door. Zara sat on the edge of the bed, completely alone on her wedding night. The music in the hallway had stopped. The candles flickered silently. Her heart felt like it had been ripped out. The charm had worked during the day, but now it was gone. Zara sat there in silence, tears falling down her face, knowing something had gone terribly wrong. Zara woke up to an empty bed. The pillows beside her were untouched. the blanket on. Denzel's side was still neatly folded. He hadn't come back. Her heart sank. This was supposed to be the happiest morning of her life. She was supposed to wake up in her husband's arms, smiling, laughing, planning their honeymoon. Instead, she sat up, alone, her wedding gown still tossed on the chair, and her heart breaking inside her chest. She called his phone. No answer. She texted him. No reply. She dressed quickly and left the hotel. When she got home, she found Denzel in the living room, watching the news like nothing had happened. Denzel, she said softly. He turned to look at her. His face was blank. I'm your wife, she whispered. Why are you acting like this? He stood up slowly. I don't know who you are, he said plainly. Zara gasped. What? I don't remember marrying you, he said. That face I saw at the altar yesterday, that was someone else. No, it was me, she shouted, pulling out her phone. Look, our wedding pictures, our videos. We stood side by side. You held my hand. You kissed me. She played the video. He watched silently, but his face remained confused. I don't feel anything, he finally said. That woman in the video looks familiar, but you? Standing here now. I don't feel a thing. No love, no emotion. Just emptiness. It's like someone is playing a trick on me. Zara dropped the phone. I am your wife, she whispered again, tears running down her face. Denzel shook his head. You need help. Or maybe I do. Because none of this feels real to me. The next few days were worse than any nightmare Zara had ever imagined. She tried everything. Cooking his favorite meals, wearing beautiful clothes, trying to joke and laugh like the old days. But Denzel avoided her. He slept in a separate room. He barely spoke to her. He wouldn't let her touch him. She brought his mother, hoping maybe family could remind him. But even she was shocked. When Denzel said, I don't remember this girl. She's not the one I said yes to. Zara felt like a ghost in her own home. She cried in silence, curled up on the floor of their bedroom at night. How could everything fall apart so quickly? She had won, but at what cost? Finally, with shaking hands and a broken spirit, she picked up her phone and called Sandra. When Sandra picked up, Zara didn't even say hello. She screamed. You didn't tell me this would happen. Sandra was silent for a second. What's going on? Denzel doesn't recognize me. Zara shouted. He looks at me like I'm a stranger. He left me alone on our wedding night. I showed him pictures, videos. Nothing works. He says I mean nothing to him. Sandra paused. Are you sure you used the powder? I used it exactly how I was told. But I also wore makeup because I wanted to look good. And now he doesn't know me anymore. Sandra's tone changed. Wait, you wore makeup? Yes. What does that have to do with anything? Sandra let out a slow breath. Zara, I think we need to go back to Baba, the native doctor. Something's not right. I should have never listened to you. Zara cried. You told me this was harmless. You said it was just to make me glow. Now my husband doesn't even believe I'm his wife. I didn't know this would happen, Sandra whispered. Let's go see him together. Maybe there's a solution. Zara hung up the phone and stared at herself in the mirror. Her face was bare now. No powder, no lipstick, just the girl she had always been. And yet, somehow, that girl had lost everything. She picked up her handbag, wiped her tears, and headed out to find answers, even if they scared her. Sandra sat quietly in the passenger seat as Zara drove through the dusty path that led to the native doctor's compound. Neither of them said a word. The air was heavy with fear, shame, and regret. Zara's hands gripped the steering wheel tightly. Her heart pounded in her chest. Her mind raced with thoughts of Denzel, his cold eyes, his distant voice, the way he looked at her, like she was a stranger. The compound finally came into view. The same old hut with strange symbols on the walls. Smoke curled out of a small hole in the roof. A goat tied to a tree bleated softly nearby. Zara parked and stepped out of the car. Sandra followed behind her slowly. When the native doctor saw them, he didn't look surprised. He sat on his mat, staring into a small clay pot filled with black smoke. Without looking up, he said, "I've been expecting you." Zara marched forward. "What did you do to me?" The old man looked up calmly. "You did it to yourself." Sandra shifted uncomfortably, glancing at Zara, but saying nothing. Zara's voice trembled with anger. "You told me to use that powder so I could get Denzel. I used it. It worked. But now, he doesn't recognize me. He acts like I'm a stranger. He feels nothing for me." The native doctor nodded slowly. "And what did you wear on your face that day?" "What?" Zara blinked. "Your wedding day," he said. "Did you let your true beauty shine, or did you cover it?" Zara hesitated, then admitted, "I wore makeup. Full makeup. I wanted to look perfect." The native doctor let out a long sigh. "I told you, the charm only works with purity. The powder binds to your natural face. It enhances what is already there. When you covered it with paint and colors, you destroyed the link. You broke the bond." Zara's eyes widened in disbelief. "You never told me I couldn't wear makeup." He raised one gray eyebrow. "You never asked. I said, let your beauty shine. You decided what that meant." Sandra stepped forward, her voice small. "Baba, is there any way to fix it?" The native doctor looked into the black smoke again, shook his head, and muttered. The spirit was drawn to the real face. Now the spirit is confused. What he sees now is not what was shown. The connection is gone. Zara knelt in front of him, tears falling from her eyes. "Please, help me. I love him. I can't lose him. He's my husband." "There's nothing I can do," he said, standing slowly. "You played with something you didn't understand. Some things, once broken, can never be restored." He turned his back and began walking away, the sound of his staff tapping the ground echoing in the compound. Zara watched him disappear into the hut. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Sandra put a hand on her shoulder, but Zara shrugged it off. She stared ahead, her eyes empty, her mind frozen. The game she played had cost her everything. And deep down, she feared the worst was still to come. If you're enjoying my stories or you enjoyed this one, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell so that when I upload part 2, you'll be the first to know. You don't want to miss what happens next. And I'd really love to hear your thoughts. What do you think Zara should do now? Do you feel sorry for her, or do you think she got what she deserved? Drop your opinion in the comment section. I read every single one, and I always enjoy hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay kind, stay curious, and stay tuned. See you in the next one.